Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, class. This is Professor Coyote. Welcome back to our Let's Play of Civilization 6. Now, remember our last time? We are still in the middle of our war against Russia. We have taken Novgorod, and we're going towards St. Petersburg. Last episode was a bit of gold farming, where we had to basically make sure everything was actually still making gold. And this time, now we're actually focusing head-on into the actual battle. Sorry if the audio here doesn't match up quite with what's going on. Audacity kind of ate it again, so I've got to do a after-the-fact recording, which, is not too bad. I think the last time we did this, we caught up pretty well. So, we've got a delicate situation here. Amsterdam still has actually declared war on us. For some reason, I thought that they hadn't when we went in. First off, we're just going to finish off this barbarian in order to clear some room for our side. Because we're essentially going in here, as you can see, in two fronts. We've got a front led by the horsemen with Genghis Khan, who doesn't want you to get it on, but anyone but me. I promise I won't do that joke too many more times. But, so we've got him connected with a horseman, and that's got an archer, and a couple of us, and I believe a couple of swordsmen who are coming on around Amsterdam. Whereas we've got a couple of swordsmen and a spearman and an archer going around. Now up here in Boston, we have improved that silk works to get some more potential gold going. And mostly just kind of poking around here. We do need to get that battering ram to St. Petersburg, and you'll see. So we'll just kind of watch it here while we're poking around, getting things set in place. At first we were thinking we couldn't get that wing on the one side going, but it just turned out that there was just too many things in the way. Now, New Orleans, we're checking out here. Looks like we've actually maximized a lot of both the gold and the productivity. We're going down a little bit just to get some gears going, but they'll be going along pretty well. They've got 4 turns till that granary. And so we're just checking out here and going to the next turn. You can see there Philadelphia is going to get that water mill going in 2 turns. And we've got a builder from Russia, just doesn't quite know what to do. I guess I was going to be sent to Novgorod, but since Novgorod is ours temporarily, it's just kind of in there.
Tactics mean doing what you can with what you have.
So I've got that military tactics, which will allow for pikemen. We can upgrade that spearman to a pikeman when we finally get the gold, at least while we're there in Novgorod. And we're getting a promotion to this archer. They're going to get incendiaries to go against the district defenses. And continuing with our theme, I believe we have gone and made them, they're going to be the Modest Mice. Because Modest Mouse, though they got their start in Washington, most of the major frontmen reside in Portland now. So it counts. It totally counts. Not that putting a quart of like in the corner of finding out a good list of Portland names that can sound like good military units or anything. So getting to St. Petersburg is going to take a little bit of time because there's at least about 10 turns worth of land between us and their major areas, especially having to go around Amsterdam like that. And here, I believe we finish off... No, we don't finish off the scout yet, but it's still going on pretty going. So, got to move around a little bit. That that swordsman goes up. Now, we did figure out what was going on with Novgorod, because there was that little symbol that meant it was being occupied. And you'll see when they make a ploy later that technically in wars like this, if you take a city, you just don't take it. They have to cede it to you, and you just get all the benefits until it becomes officially your city. Which is why Novgorod is basically kind of stuck. And we take machinery for our new science tree, because that'll give a crossbowman and also a lumber mill, which will act a lot like those the serfdom thing does with forests. All right, so we've got a wounded knight coming up. We're just checking our domination here. We're still doing pretty well against Peter the Great. In fact, those knights are probably about the only thing he's got left. The knights in the chariot, as far as goes. So we'll bombard them with the arrows, and they don't do too much. They only do 8, but at least it's 8 that's not actually taking any damage from it elsewhere. Because you can see we slip there, it would be a pretty bad defeat of those swordsmen versus just the knights. Kind of need our horsemen to go up, and even their attack behind the knights. Okay, and we're coming up along here pretty well. We're moving things forward. We got that one song that kind of sounds like King Wenceslas. But you know. So yeah, this is where I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Novgorod and why it still counts as occupied. But, you know, we figure it out eventually. Philadelphia here, we've completed its granary and the water wheel. So we decided to put, let's see, we're trying to figure out here. We put in another zone. Most of Philadelphia is maximized. As you can see here, we've got people in basically everywhere except the commercial hub. So we can't really afford to get rid of anything until we get that 113 thing. So go with a knight, I believe. Yeah, we have a knight building ourselves. That'll take 10 turns. But now we're starting to build up our own power. We're at 297. The knight will push us well over 300. We're over Barbarossa still. And we're leading in science, as you can see. So we're doing pretty happy there. And our overall score is a nice 199 to 176. So we're definitely leading the game with on turn 155. And so we have the knights back, the swordsmen back off a little bit. And just have them fortify. Because the knights are definitely a problem. They're definitely strong versus anything that's below them tech-wise, which is what these swordsmen would be. Is they're about a tech behind, plus they have the cavalry bonus. Okay, so we're just trying to figure out here, and then we go on to the next turn. Just looking at things. It's too bad Hong Kong actually isn't doing much to us. For us, I believe that it's more of a defensive thing. They did go into Novgorod and they did deal a little bit with some of the Russian army, but right now they're just sort of milling about, not being very effective as a force. But as you can see, those knights did back off. They were either a little bit too damaged. They felt that the things coming up would have dealt with them too much. The spearmen are actually good against the cavalry, because they're just like pikemen, obviously. Then we move our other swords up. Still trying to figure out what this means, but as I said, we'll figure it out a little bit later. But right now I'm just kind of like going, oh, why? Why does this mean? What does this mean with being occupied? So... I don't mind this little bit right here. Just trying to figure out what does it mean? Because occupied actually isn't in the Civlopedia, which is odd. That's about one of the few things that isn't in the Civlopedia to figure out what's going on. So we're thumbing through this. It was probably mostly in the actual Civlopedia about war, and we'll find that out later. So it's like, oh well, Novgorod's still doing something. We're building the wall in there. And but, you know, sometimes you just learn on the fly, right? guys are going forward here. Now we've got our... So this is where we're finding out, oh yeah, Amsterdam might be a battle, but we kind of skip past them, just ignore them. Much to our detriment. For some reason, I was still thinking that Amsterdam was only at war with Hong Kong, but it was, so we just kind of blow past them. Whether or not this ends up becoming a major issue, we'll see what happens in the future. I know, I keep saying that. One day, I'll either get tired of saying it, or you'll get tired of hearing it. So we're moving up, and technically we have 3 fronts going right now. We've got the front that's going there on the sea. We've got the cavalry charge here, and the remaining foot soldiers on the right. So we just end up fortifying and then checking over our cities just to make sure. So Boston's got 5 on that industrial district. New Orleans and Portland are both 1 on their own. So we'll hit that next turn. As you can see, we're making almost 5 gold. And this is where we find out that Amsterdam is actually doing things because they launch a catapult at our poor cavalry. Now, it didn't do much, which is a good thing, but it still did some damage. And then you're like, oh yeah, Amsterdam's at war with us. Go figure. I'm not saying that I'm perfect when it comes to this strategy, but at least, you know, I'll admit my mistakes after the fact. Okay. So we move forward here, trying to avoid that catapult. Now, in retrospect, this is going to put us a little bit vulnerable if Amsterdam wanted to move on Novgorod to retake it. So we'll, that hasn't happened yet. So we will definitely look next episode to see if that does have an effect. And we just fire on those knights again. So we kill 1 knight. So now it's down to half strength. It would still be a major defeat, though, the swordsman there. So we decide to back off there. And we'll have the pikeman and this other swordsman move up. So we're on a good, firm base with that grounding. So we're kind of done here. Now you can see here, we're looking at production for the other cities now. So with figuring out what we can do. And once again, that's kind of frustrating that you can't combine some... I mean, you think that you could at least combine ones that are similar, like 2 swordsmen or 2 pikemen, but no. So we make a pasture for the sheep here in Boston, since we now have that. That's definitely going to help some of our production. And we'll move it to try to get that spice in the New Orleans later. So Portland finished is going to get its walls now. And New Orleans will get, I believe we ended up, yeah, we're doing a watermill in order to help its production. St. Louis has its own thing going in 3 turns, and now we're 7 turns away from that. So here is where Russia's going, okay, please stop beating us up. They're offering, looks like wine. Initially, it just looks like gold and 2 gold for 30 turns. So it's like, well, that's kind of a sad little thing. And as you can see here, they would have to cede Novgorod to us, but they didn't want to do that. They'd make peace for us and give us the Iliad, as far as great works. And I'm like, no, I don't think we want to return Novgorod. We like Novgorod. For some reason, it's not letting us... I guess probably because we didn't take it off of our deal. So we refused the thing there, and now it finally dawned on us, oh, that's what occupied means. But we are still getting some benefits out of Novgorod, so that's fine. Alright, we've got the units needing orders here, so we will fire upon the knights again. Doing pretty well there. The knights are almost fully dead. They healed a little bit, but we're doing a little bit more damage than they're healing, so... Now we move Genghis Khan up to the city limits of St. Petersburg. We take a major defeat there, but we take a major victory against this chariot. So we go for that in order to help tweak with it. We do take some damage on the swordsman, of course, but at least that front is moving up pretty well. And speaking of fronts, we've got this side front here. We've got the 3 infantry, the archer and 2 swordsmen with battering ram. Novgorod is doing pretty well here. Doesn't look, I mean, looks like that the builder moved up, so sure, we're like, hey, if the builder wants to improve things while we're at it, they can improve them for us. Whatever, right? Then, once we did that, it's mostly just looking over some things, because it looks like that no city needs any production or tweaking with it. We're just looking over it. Boston is at 7, so we'll look at that later. But it's just mostly next turn now. Alright. And then, of course, Russia here does a bit of a goof. They sent their chariot off and got it killed. So it did do a little bit of damage to the swordsman, but definitely kind of basically just wasted that chariot.
Listen, strange women lying in ponds, distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. You can't expect to wield supreme power just because some watery tart.
This I absolutely loved. That they're using for divine right the Monty Python and the Holy Grail quote. I mean, we're definitely, especially this kind of election season, we'd all be definitely right for supreme power being distributed by mythological being. But of course, the tone here is watery tart is a little. That's kind of a naughty phrase, but of course the original is a little bit darker. But from here we do get monarchy, so we're going to switch to monarchy because that gives not only housing in any city with medieval walls, which we'll need to build, but now it gives those 2 extra military policies for us to put into. Plus, as you can see here, not only do we get that great influence ability, which cranks up to almost 10 a turn now. So you can see we're making +6 influence points per turn, although that'll actually be a little bit more. It's 150. For every 150, you get 2 envoys. Definitely cranking up the thing with those city-states. And the legacy bonuses from the previous chiefdom, I believe, still stack. So now we just need to decide what the other military policies are. So we're looking over here. We've got chivalry, which goes to 50%. Which it does. So that's 50% production towards medieval Renaissance and industrial era heavy and light cav units. So that'll be great for the future. Limes does production towards defensive buildings. And just kind of looking over things here. Gothic architecture wouldn't really be an upgrade. And we're still in those great scientist points. So we're looking here, and ultimately, we decide to go for the limes for right now. That goes towards defensive buildings, which includes those walls. So that's what our monarchy is going to be looking at right now. And so we just look over things and then move up the front. We've got a knight here, which unfortunately, as you can see, the defeat against the swordsman. Even Genghis Khan can't beat a knight right now. So we'll move forward here. And this is unfortunate, because St. Petersburg does have walls, which we find out here. So we're going to take some damage, and that's, yeah. So we'll see how that goes, if that really hurts the war effort or not. And then we just move everybody over. You can see here that those knights have hidden around that mountain. Then we move those guys away so they don't get to Amsterdam's arrows in them. And then we move our own arrows up. We decide finally to fire at Amsterdam, so we're doing a little bit of think about whether we take them on. Now in this initial, we're still thinking that was odd that we got fired against the catapults, so whoops. and then hope that we don't take too much problems there. And then we've got our new Civic. So we decide to go here with I believe mercenaries simply because it's just 4 turns. And then you get a couple of policies which we'll look over when we come back to our next episode. I'm realizing a little too late here. Oh, maybe we should have moved because St. Petersburg is going to fire on us. And then you'll see what happens next turn. But we definitely know we need to get that battering ram in order to even think about hitting those walls. So once the battering ram comes in, then everything will go up fine. But until then, no. So we're looking at things here. And this is where St. Petersburg fires twice on there because of that defensive garrison counts as another bombardment as well. So while the horsemen didn't take too terrible damage, it was still kind of bad. And then, of course, the archers take it pretty badly, both from the catapult and also Amsterdam city walls. So hopefully this didn't end up hosing over the entire battle. I really hope not, because that would have been a bad miscalculation. So with this turn, we move up. And we're finally starting to get into St. Petersburg. We gotta wait. So we'll do some healing with some of our units. Fortify up. Because we know we have to wait until the battering ram gets in before we can do some major damage. And this is where we're starting to back things up now. Waiting for that. And wondering, hey, can we really do this much damage on this catapult? So those archers are more than likely toast. It's distressing, but it's not like those are our only archers. And some here we're actually clicking on Hattus's lands. We've got this backup sword. Alright, and then we look into St. Louis that needs its own production. We're putting a monument in there due to its kind of a low, but it should be able to get some of that going. I'm just kind of rambling right now. But that's where we're going to leave this here for this episode. We're just checking here. We're at 202, so we're doing pretty well. Our strength is only down to 256, but that's still pretty good. We've got our 2 flanks now moving, with a 3rd coming in. We have a knight coming from Philadelphia pretty soon. So with that, I hope you have a very excellent rest of your day. We'll just finish it out with the last couple 20 seconds or so. We'll definitely be into the war with St. Petersburg in the next episode. And I hope you have a very excellent rest of your day. And with that, class dismissed.